Hello again, this is Grant Swartzwelder, and I'll be your host today for the Grown Up Table. So excited about our presentation today. It all kind of started back a little while when I was probably about 6 months ago. I decided I wanted to do some more things for joy and for my own happiness. And so I did several projects, but I also did some individual items that I really found gave me a little more direction, a little more structure, a little more happiness, and therefore more joy. And through all that, I ended up stumbling into a newspaper article that is so perfect for this. And so with that, let me set the table for you today. That once a year, our guest puts together 26 items for the year 2026, items for kind of a New Year's resolution, but also really kind of more for joy and for happiness. And when I read that, I saw several of them that I was doing. So if I was doing it, that meant it had to be right. And so it made it perfect sense on that. So today, I'm so happy to have Leslie Barker as my guest. She spent 30 years as a writer for the Dallas Morning News doing health and fitness. She now is a freelance writer working for a variety of health-related causes, but she is every year asked to come back and provide this article that I'm holding up in the morning news. I think started in 2016.
Yeah, I think it was 2016 when I was doing, I was covering mostly health and fitness at the morning news, and I wanted to do something for like Grant said, New Year's resolution, but kind of easy things and easy ways to like incorporate fitness or movement or mental, something that's to make you feel better and whatever. So I did 16 ways to feel better in 2016, and then I just started doing it every year, 2017, and so on until now.
Well, Leslie, welcome to the Grown Up Table. I think that's great. So keep going down that path. It's what the purpose of this is. What are you hoping to gain by publishing these?
I think I started it because I just want, I don't know, there's so much going on in the world and all, and there are just so many ways, just little ways that you can make things better. Because now I kind of bill it as however many ways to be healthier physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. And I think I try and hit on all of those. And like I said, it started out with health and fitness kind of things. And I have some of those. But what I want this list to be is not one more thing that you say, oh God, here's another list of resolutions I have to make and I have to check off the box and stuff, but just things really that just are going to start to come naturally. And when you do them, you just feel better about stuff. And when you mentioned the whole thing about joy, my dad, God rest his soul, his thing was always, he'd tell us to do something, he'd say, and do it joyfully. And when we were growing up, it was like, oh yeah, Dad, joyfully, blah, blah, blah. But now I think we really try to do that. That's what my little necklace says, joyfully. I don't know if you can see it, but so I think about Dad. But that's,
it is kind of amazing as you get older, you do think of things more from a joyful nature and how you approach it. And I look at my daughters, and I don't know if they always do everything I ask them to do in a joyful manner, but it does evolve. I assume that's wisdom that we now have.
We're very smart now, yes.
Okay,
no doubt, yeah.
So these aren't really New Year's resolutions. They're just really kind of items or activities that might make us happier, stronger, better.
Right. And I think in so doing, when we bestow some of them on other people, it's a good thing. I'm always telling my son, he's now 32, and God bless him, he listens to me, and I write about him, and he's fine with all that. But I'll say, Charlie, like if you see somebody and they, I don't know, that they have a nice smile, or it's somebody at Starbucks or something, and they are really fast with your order. I said, just tell them, because that's kind of one of my things too, is that if you're thinking something nice, just say it, and it can just make or break somebody's day, or not break it. It'll make somebody's day. It's just kind of a good thing.
Well, sadly, it's because so few people do that. It's like writing a thank you note when anyone does that.
That's another one of mine. Write a thank you note.
When so few people do it, if you're the one that sticks out because you actually do it.
Right.
So it's so how you've been doing this for 10 years, and so have you seen it evolve, except for the obvious that you do 16 for 16 and 17 for 17. I figured that part out.
Yeah.
But have you seen the topics or the items change, or they kind of you see the similar trends through it?
A little both, I guess. Because one of them that I always have, it's look up from your phone or put your phone away. And because so many times you'll go in a restaurant and you see people like a table of 4 people and they're all on their phones. I'm like, well, who are you texting or who are you talking to? What about the people who are right there? And then like when somebody's outside going for a walk and they're on their phone, and I'm thinking, it's a gorgeous day. Just spend just a minute to look around and breathe it all in. And
Well, I would think over the last 10 years, the electronics, the phones, all those have become such a huge part of one's life that I
Right.
would think that would force you to deal with that there. And it did seem like you talked about taking your earbuds off,
Right,
taking your phone away, and kind of the same type vein of having a book and just reading a book.
Yes, yes.
And it seems to all be in that vein.
Right, right. And you'd had the podcast with Dr. Housen a couple of
Yes.
weeks ago talking about why don't people say hello? And that was right.
Yeah,
Why don't
it was
they say
focused
hi
on that,
anymore?
but
And
you have something similar to that about just waving, having that interaction with that.
yeah, and I started doing it. Well, I've been doing this for a while, but when I go for a walk, and I will, and this is one of them here, but I end up like talking to somebody, and I think, it's worth it to stop for 30 seconds, interrupt my walk for 30 seconds to say something to somebody. And so one of the tips this year was to ask names, not just of people, but of their dogs. And people always want to talk about their dogs, and then you learn what their names are too, and just being called by their name. And we'll see each other, and this one of them, Marcy, she said, I haven't seen you in a while. I said, well, I hurt my foot. And she said, well, I've been looking for you. I've been kind of concerned. And we ended up exchanging, finally, we've talked to each other for years, exchanging contact information. But her dog is Riley, yeah, Riley, and yeah.
And
she's
what
a nice
you're
thing.
talking about there is kind of creating community.
Yes.
And that's, I went and listened to James Tallarico town hall, and he talked about community and about the need to have people care about other people.
Right.
And I think some of what you're talking about here, we're asking names, waving, saying thank you. That's all about community and showing that you give a crap about the person down the street from
Right,
you or that
exactly.
you run into.
Yeah, and you can get on Facebook and make comments and all whatever, but you don't get that face to face talking to somebody and just really just smiling at somebody, because you never know when someone just may need a smile to get through their day. And then back to the thank you notes. I mean, writing cards is such a big thing. But I have so many nieces and nephews. I have 9 nieces and a lot of nieces and nephews, and they all have kids, and so I have 21 great nieces and nephews.
Oh, wow.
So I try and send all of them a birthday card on their birthdays, and there's one of them, the oldest one, and he always writes me a thank you note, handwritten. He's now 13 years old, Eli, and he does that. It means so much to me. I just treasure those. Yeah.
And it's those little things that people notice.
Yeah.
So it's you start off. I think you start off each of your articles with "Make Your Bed."
I do start with that one.
Tell me the story about that.
Okay, it was a tribute to my dear mother, who's now 95 years old, and she's in assisted living, but she still makes her bed. We will go in and see her, and the bed is always made. And it's just she's always done that, and that's what I do too, because I think when you do that, you've accomplished something. If you don't do anything else that day, you've made your bed. And then it also serves the purpose, I guess, of it's not tempting to fall right back into bed, but you've done it. You get up, it takes 20 seconds to pull the covers up, and you're set for the day. You've done something.
And when we first talked, I brought that I had read Admiral McCraven, who was the former president of University of Texas, his little book, and it was called "Make Your Bed."
Yeah.
And it's very similar to what you were saying. And
right. I said, I promise. I didn't
know
get
you
it from
didn't.
him.
Making your bed is kind of a universal thing.
Yes.
That, from parents from the 20s on have talked about that. But it is interesting that what you just said and what kind of your mom talked about and what he talked about, there is kind of that universal of if you just get something done and you start with something, then it has a way of building to the next thing.
Right. Yes, I think
so that's what you see with. And so, does your son make his bed?
I'm I'm
Uh-oh.
not sure. I don't think so, but I don't know.
Do
I'm
you
not
make
really
your
sure.
bed?
I do make my
All
bed.
right.
It's kind of
So
the first thing I do.
you've
I
at
pull
least
up the
done
covers
that,
and
and
the
then
cats are in the bed, and that I just do that. But yes, I have done that.
so another one that I found interesting, and this is something I started doing several months ago. Part of the whole Joy project is moving the hangers, and
I
it
know. See,
seems
some of
so
these things
easy,
are just seem so
but it
small, but it
makes
makes a
me
difference.
so happy. Well, first explain it, and then
Okay.
I'll explain kind of why it makes me happy.
Okay, when you go into your closet and you take a shirt off or whatever, and then you just put the hanger right back in there, and then when you take it off, it's like, oh, wait a minute, I know there's a hanger in there somewhere, and you're kind of going through it all. But if after you take your clothes off the hanger, you move the empty hanger to the left side or to the right side, then at the end of the day, all the empty hangers are there, and you don't have to go rifling through your clothes to find out where the hanger is. It's just these little things that are just so simple,
And that is exactly what happened to me. I have a little section where I put my hangers. It's easy when I do the laundry or help my wife with the laundry, but it's also, I don't have all these extra hangers in my shirt. And it's so
Right.
small, but it just makes me feel at ease, and kind of it eliminates clutter,
Right.
which I think has a lot of benefit.
Yes, yeah, and actually, this is kind of on a similar note with that
Yeah,
one.
please.
That after you've in the morning, after, I mean, that's when I do my walks and stuff, to unlace your shoes, because I always just slip them right off, and so
Kick
then in
them
the
off,
morning
yep.
I have to take the bow out and do it. But if you unlace them to begin with, you don't have to do that. And do I do all these things myself? I try to, but you should see my closet with with my tied shoes that are in there.
I don't think this is we're not giving grades on this, so I think we're
Thank you.
okay.
I'm happy to hear that.
One of the others that I really liked, and this is one that I have been talking to my kids forever, and after talking to them for years and years, I'm now, as they're in their 20s and 18, 21, I'm starting to see that, and that is just that it never hurts to ask.
Right.
And
that is my big one.
And that's
yes.
how I met you. That I saw this article, and I liked it. I liked the purpose of it, and so I just reached out to you. And what's the downside? You don't respond. You might tell me to go to hell. There's a chance that probably won't happen. Or I end up meeting someone really neat and having a podcast guest. And I've done that with a couple of my other podcasts. The woman that Amy, who was buried alive in the Oklahoma City bombing,
Jeez.
she was. I saw the Netflix special, and I just sent her a note, and she was gracious and agreed to come on, and it was just an amazing conversation. And so it's amazing what can happen if you just take a chance and reach out.
Yeah, I think that can be with all kinds of things. If you want to take an extra day off at work or something like that, or you want to, you think, well, would this be, I don't know, it might not be a good story, or maybe it was like, well, I'm going to go ahead and ask. The least they can, the worst they can say is no. And I think that it works with all kinds of things. So yeah, I kind of like that one too.
And that theme kind of fits in with saying hello to the dog and the owner, just taking a chance.
Right.
And, whether it's to go someplace or to be with someone or to reach out.
Yeah, and I think along those lines, one of them also is to say yes, which I don't always do, as my sisters will attest. But because if someone's asking you to do something, gee, what an honor that they want you to do it. So the least you can do is say yes. I mean, like when you asked me to do this, of course I can say yes. What a great thing to do.
Good experience, something different. I know my wife, she'll agree to do something, and then the day of, she's tired and doesn't really want to do it. And I go, that every time you do go, you end up having a great time. And it is hard. You're so busy, you're so preoccupied that you want to push away. You do that, then you're going to be sitting in your lazy boy recliner for the rest of your life.
Yes. And actually, it's interesting because there was a New York Times, one of the newsletters, and she had talked about that very thing, that it's just so easy to make these plans so far in advance, and then when the day comes, you just don't want to do it. And she goes, I'm just determined I am not going to be the one who calls and says, oh, something came up, or I'm just so tired or whatever. And she says, I'm always glad I went. And I think that that's probably true, that we all will be.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. It's another theme that I seem to read through this is kind of giving of yourself, whether it's volunteering, whether it's standing up for other people. Was there a theme there, or am I making more of it than, than it's there?
No, probably. I mean, I think the volunteering thing, because, I'm a freelance writer. I'm at a home by myself a lot, and I thought I need to do something to get out. And so I thought about it, and then I finally sent a note to folks at Methodist Richardson Hospital, and I love it. I just love it. I go every Thursday for 4 hours, and it's just such a great thing. I meet people who I never would have met.
Why is it neat?
Why is it such a great? Well, studies have been done saying that it is good for you mentally and emotionally and physically and all these other things that are in my thing.
Seems like
it gets
it's
you
almost
out.
just an extension of saying hello. It's even obviously more valuable because you're doing more, but you're just
Right.
You're reaching out. You're creating community.
Exactly. And so when someone comes to the hospital and they see a friendly face and who leads them where they need to be going or whatever, that's what you remember. And I wanted to go to that hospital because this is another slide aside. But years ago, my son out of the clear blue had a seizure, and so he was at Methodist, and everybody was just so nice, and you just don't forget that. So it's kind of I guess paying it back or paying it forward or
Sure.
something like that too.
I love stories like that where someone gave you a loan and then that person comes back and helps and buys something from you or reciprocates and,
Right,
and knows that has really made a difference.
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So it's talk about the whole standing up part. You talked in two different ways: standing up for yourself, but also standing up for health. Let's focus just on standing up for yourself.
Okay, direct me a little bit on that one. Which one was
Well,
that?
you're talking about standing up for yourself to kind of for what you believe and for others and.
Oh,
and
yeah.
how-
Well, with that, I think I said, stand up for what you believe for others, and then just stand up because it's a good thing to do, physically to make yourself stand up. But
because it seems like to go and if it's something you believe in and you care about, whether it's helping an individual or a cause, to stand up for that has to be kind of freeing. Has to be, again, community.
Yeah.
Seems to really, I think, help with your joy factor.
Right, I think so too. And knowing that you've done something for somebody, and then this is going to mean something for them. And this isn't. I don't know if this is really so much along those lines, but my son's girlfriend she's an ICU nurse, and she wants to get to become a nurse practitioner. And so she asked if I would write a letter for her to go to for her application, and it turned out being a lot more involved than I thought it would. But it was a labor.
But you're a
it was
writer,
labor of
so
love.
you should be qualified for this.
But just these different questions. But it just kind of made me think about stuff, and I thought I would just do anything for her, So I would really like to do this because I think she would be great at that. Like she's great at being the nurse.
Well, it still counts to have a reference and having someone stand up to say this person is. Worthy of, fill in the blank. So
yes.
The other theme point that I seem to see is talking about hope and joy. And I saw in your 26 ideas talking about stay where joy is uncluttered.
I love that. I thought that was cool.
Hope. Let's talk about that some.
Okay, I get a lot of those from throughout the year. I will just sort of make notes, kind of knowing that I'm doing this. And before I came over, I should have just brought all this, but I have just these little clippings from the newspaper,
little sticky notes all on your wall.
Yep. Or at church, I will. I was frantically looking for. That was going to be one of my others. Always have a pen with you, but like during the sermon, there'll be something that strikes my fancy, and so it was the what was it? Uncluttered joy.
Stay where joy is uncluttered.
Yeah, stay where joy is uncluttered, and I just like that so much. So I sent a note to my minister, Amos DeSasa, First Presbyterian Church of Dallas, and just asked him for a copy of the sermon. And so he sent that to me. I found all these other things in there that I apparently had just not been paying attention to, but I really like that. And then the thing about hope, it was something I'd read, a quote from Jane Goodall, and it was set your sight on think of it I think of hope as a little star at the end of a dark tunnel, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah, and she said, I love that. What she said, she goes, we all just need to gird our loins. And she goes, I have no idea what that means, but I just like the sound of it. We need to gird our loins. But I think we do have to focus on hope and on the good, because there's so much good out there. It's just so easy these days to just be overwhelmed
But
by
I think
all the
especially in today's
nastiness.
world where there is such a darkness that seems to be out there
Mm-hmm.
that if you could get sucked into that darkness. So
Yes,
if you don't have
so
that
easy
tiny
to,
star
right.
at the end of the tunnel, or you don't try to find where joy is, you could get lost.
Oh, yeah, yes, I completely agree. And actually, this is my show and tell thing, because
Okay.
I started doing this. I guess this is my third year for it, and this just sounds so simple and so basic, but I get should have brought the one that was full, but 2026. And so I have just these are cards. I think I got them at Dollar Tree. I just, index cards. I cut in half. I put a little hole in them. And during the days, if there's something good that happens, which there usually is, I write on it. Let me see if I can have one. This was just one. Like this was January 3rd. I just talked to Charlie, who's my son, who called us. He and his girlfriend had been here from Colorado for Christmas. He said that they made it back safely, and they just being here was so wonderful. And Charlie just said it was so good being home. And it was, and I was looking at the ones that I had from 2025, and some of the things I'd forgotten, because when things happen, you think you're going to remember them, but to have it written down. And so I just have this, and this will be full before the year.
So I'm assuming I'm in there someplace.
You are in here, actually. You are in here.
No, there we go.
I will say, because
I'm just teasing. You don't have to.
Okay.
You don't have to make anything up for me.
Okay, here it is. Here it is. My 26 Ways for 2026 ran, and a podcaster named Grant asked me to be a guest on his show. So there you have it.
So I've made the ring of honor there.
You did make the ring of honor,
but that also ties with one of yours in the 26 about hold on to the awe. And I like that, because awe can be as simple as some of those smaller.
And these are so small.
things.
These are just so small.
But at least it's an awe. It's depends how you define it. Awe doesn't have to be life shaking.
Right.
It could just be a positive thing that gives you hope, joy.
Oh, exactly.
And
exactly.
holding on to that is kind of allows you to kind of
keep going. I think.
Keep going.
Yeah, and it is. I say that they're all little, but the little things are the big things. And like I've seen, if you go outside sometimes and just look at the colors, and geez, all these shades of yellow, that is just so pretty, or all these shades of green, and it's just remarkable what's out there. And that's another one of mine, is go outside. Just be outside for 5 minutes. It just does wonders for you mentally and physically. And yeah.
Well, you've brought up fitness and that type a couple of times, and I kept pushing it back, because the people that know me will know that I try not to do any of that. That's why I'm a big boy.
You don't do jumping jacks?
And so your jumping jacks, going outside, standing up, obviously as a writer in the health area, the fitness area, but tell me about fitness and doing more physical and how that could help you.
Okay, well, as I say, I work out, I do my weights, and I do, I go for my walks and stuff. But I do it, to stay in shape, and I do it so much for my sanity, because it's just such a great thing, and something I do for me, and I just do it first thing in the morning, and when it's done, I'm finished for the day. But it's just so nice to get outside, and I see the same people a lot of the times, and I see nature, and sometimes it's cold, like this morning, but that's fine. I just maybe, in fact, that was one I started to put on my cards, and maybe I will when I get home or something. But there was just something about feeling cold, about the just the ability to feel that, and I'm always just so thankful that I can walk, and that I can breathe, and that I can go up and down the stairs.
Well, and there's so many studies that show that the physical exercise also helps your mental state.
Right.
Because of how you're able to move and experience and just kind of release. So
yeah, and there was just a study that came out like in the last few days, I think, that it's exercising is good, and I probably get this wrong, so don't completely quote me,
No.
but for depression as taking medication, and I guess a lot of times you do both, but there's just something about movement.
So we've covered quite a few. Are there any that I missed? Well, obviously there are, but those were the ones that jumped and said something to me.
Well, I think the whole expressing gratitude, which is what I do on my little things too. But my son and I, we started this. Oh, probably when he was in elementary school. We called it our 5 Things book, and all over my house there are 5 Things books. That we would start and then we wouldn't finish it, or we wouldn't complete it. But we would have at the end of the day, I'd say, okay, Charlie, what are your 5 things for today? And when he was little, I'd say,
these are 5 things to be
5 things to be thankful for.
Thankful for, okay.
Yeah, and so I would say, and I just remember this one day, and I said, well, Charlie, how was your day? And he was just little, and he goes, oh, I didn't have a day. I said, oh, yes, you did. I said, there must have been something good that happened. I said, what'd you have for lunch? And he goes, well, we had French fries. I said, well, how were they? Well, they were really good. I said, write down French fries were good. And he goes, oh, okay. And because I'm just thinking, because there's always something to be thankful for. And even if you have a crummy day, you think, well, at least I woke up, and I, and I probably talked to somebody, and yeah.
Well, and that creates a habit.
Yes.
In how you live your life, that gives you a better chance to have a more joyful, more happy type life.
Right, and they say that expressing gratitude, it's wonderful for you. It's all the endorphins and pure brain chemistry or whatever, but it's a good thing to do, to get, like you said, to get into the habit of doing. Because again, there's so much going on, and you could surround yourself thinking how terrible everything is, but there are things like today, it's such a gorgeous day out there. And I know that, I get this.
I know, it was so gorgeous that we had to close
exactly. Yes, I can
the
see
screens because of all the sun. So,
yes. But I come from a pretty optimistic family, and like my mother, she's like I said, she's 95. She's in an assisted living center, but she's so cheerful, and she loves going outside. And she goes, oh, honey, would you look? There's not a cloud in the sky. And she loves the blue sky, and she loves the leaves, and she loves her plants. And, it's just really nice to be around that.
I come from a family that has seen so many beautiful sunsets.
Oh.
And the nice thing is they will actually take pictures of all of them. And I just say, thank goodness for digital cameras, because I would have a lot of expense and copies of pictures of sunsets.
Yeah.
And, so there's technology does have some benefits there. So,
yes, it certainly does. Mm-hmm.
Anything else come to mind, or?
Okay, let me see. Let me take a peek. I think calling people on their birthday, because you can text people and whatever, but this came from my niece Julie, and she said she's just started calling people on their birthday, and it just makes such a big difference. And then also I go to Dollar Tree, which is now $1.25 Tree or something, but and get birthday cards, and they're like 50 cents or $1, and mail them to people. And like I mailed one to this girl, because I always remember her birthday. She lived 2 doors down, and I found her address. She lives in San Antonio, and I sent her a card on her birthday. I probably haven't been in touch with her in 50 years.
Well,
and she wrote me back this really nice note, and she goes, how'd you remember my birthday? And I don't know, I think that's just a good thing to do.
So you got to thank you for your birthday card. And then I was told, I think it was a comic that once said that what you need to do then is, on that thank you note, then you need to send a little gift with it, which then forces you to have to send a thank you back. And it just kind of goes back and forth.
So it never stopped. Exactly. That's a good
and
idea.
It just will wear out that thank you, right?
Yeah.
But on the birthday cards at my company, we send birthday cards to every
employee or client.
Every employee. And occasional client, but more for the employees, and have everyone sign it. And we usually write something snarky or something,
right,
because that's what we do. And I think it does, again, back to community and back to warmth and joy.
Right. It makes people realize that, I'm important. There's somebody who cares, and we all care. We all have someone who cares, but a lot of times we're just so buried in our phones, we don't take the time to talk.
I would agree with that wholeheartedly. Leslie, thank you very much for coming today.
Sure.
And being part
we
of
could
the
just
grown-up
talk and
table.
talk. This is great.
And it's this is wonderful, not only because I do some of these things, but they are very easy to do. And as we clear the table here, I think one of the biggest points is that none of these are that hard to do.
Right.
And if you just try one and try it again, it becomes a pretty easy habit. And then do a second one, and it can really kind of create some space in there for you to have a happier day, a little more joyful day. And
Right,
so,
right.
so thank you for writing this
Oh,
and being
you're
consistent
welcome.
in your efforts there. And thank you all very much for participating in the Grown Up Table. If you like what you hear, please share with your friends, have other people follow, pass it on to someone else, and we'll continue to build a community that way as well. Thank you very much.